Greek yogurt. Despite the name, the version most people eat today was built in the United States by a Turkish immigrant named Hamdi Ulukaya. In 2005, he bought an abandoned craft factory in upstate New York and started making yogurt the traditional way. By 2012, Greek yogurt had jumped from under 1% of the American yogurt market to over 50% in less than a decade. Greek yogurt starts like regular yogurt but gets strained through cloth or fine filters to remove the liquid whey. Most of the lactose leaves with the whey, which means the sugar content drops and the protein concentrates. A standard serving contains nearly twice the protein of unstrained yogurt. The texture becomes thick enough to hold a spoon upright without it sinking. Here's the part most people never think about. Producing 1 cup of Greek yogurt generates 3 to 4 cups of acid whey as a byproduct. That liquid cannot be poured down the drain. It is too acidic for waterways and too heavy to transport cheaply. As Greek yogurt scaled into billions of cups, the industry quietly created one of the largest dairy waste problems in modern food manufacturing. Skyr. Norse settlers brought it to Iceland in the 9th century, and Icelanders have been eating it in nearly the same form for over 1,000 years. In a country with extreme cold and no refrigeration, skyr was a way to preserve dairy protein through winter. The recipe that kept people alive through Icelandic winters barely changed at all. Skyr is technically classified as fresh cheese, not yogurt. It is made from skim milk, bacterial cultures, and a small amount of rennet, an enzyme that helps the milk set more firmly. That combination produces something even thicker than Greek yogurt with extremely high protein and almost no fat. Icelanders traditionally ate it with a spoon and a bit of cream just to soften it. Skyr existed before the word yogurt was even in common use. It just got rebranded when the global food industry decided it needed a familiar label to sell it. Wait! Before we get to the regular yogurt, the one that started everything, discovered completely by accident, we're doing a quick challenge. I've hidden 4 small cats throughout this video. Can you find them all? I'll give you 30 seconds, or just pause if you're not a pro. While you're looking, do me a huge favor. Smash that like button and subscribe if you're enjoying the food lore so far. It helps the channel more than you know. Okay, time's up. Let me know in the comments how many you found. No spoilers. Now, let's get back to the regular yogurt. Regular yogurt. This is where everything begins. Yogurt is at least 7,000 to 10,000 years old, likely discovered when herdsmen in Central Asia stored fresh milk in pouches made from animal stomachs. Those stomach linings naturally contained bacteria. The warmth of the climate did the rest. Nobody invented it. Someone just noticed it happened and kept doing it on purpose. Modern regular yogurt uses 2 specific bacterial strains, Lactobacillus delbrecki subspecies Bulgaricus and Streptococcus thermophilus. The milk is heated to around 85 degrees Celsius, then cooled to about 43 degrees before the cultures are added. The bacteria grow rapidly, converting lactose into lactic acid and thickening the milk over several hours. Regular yogurt fermented directly in the container comes out firm, while regular yogurt fermented in large tanks and mixed before packaging comes out creamier. Both are the same product at their core, just shaped differently. Bulgarian yogurt. In 1905, a Bulgarian student named Stamen Grigorov was studying medicine in Geneva when he examined a sample of traditional Bulgarian yogurt under a microscope and identified the specific bacterium responsible for its fermentation. That discovery changed the scientific understanding of dairy fermentation permanently. Bulgarian yogurt uses the same 2 core cultures as regular yogurt, but the specific strains produce a noticeably sharper, more acidic result. The bacteria work symbiotically, each one producing compounds that help the other grow faster. The fermentation is more active, the tang is stronger, and the flavor has a sharpness that regular yogurt never reaches. Note, a strain is just a specific version of a bacteria. Same species, completely different behavior. Think of it like dogs. A Labrador and a Rottweiler are both dogs, but they act nothing alike. Bulgaria considers yogurt part of its national identity at a level that most countries do not apply to any food. Bulgarian researchers have spent decades arguing that authentic Bulgarian yogurt can only be made using cultures descended from the original strains. The rest of the world uses versions of those same bacteria every day without knowing where they came from. French yogurt. In the 16th century, King Francis I of France was suffering from severe diarrhea that his royal physicians could not treat. In desperation, he sent word to Suleiman the Magnificent, the Ottoman Sultan, who dispatched a doctor from Constantinople with a single remedy. That doctor walked across Europe with a flock of sheep, making fresh yogurt along the way to keep the culture alive, and fed it to the king. Francis I recovered. He called it the gift of divine milk, and France never forgot it. France approached yogurt after that the way it approaches most food, as something that deserves patience. French-style yogurt is fermented directly inside the glass jar it is sold in and never touched again. No stirring, no straining, no processing after the cultures finish their work. The jar goes into the incubator, the bacteria ferment the milk, and when it is done, it stays exactly as it said. That single choice creates a completely different texture. Because the fermented milk is never disturbed, the protein structure stays intact in a way stirred yogurt cannot replicate. The result is a custard-like consistency, smooth on the surface but holding its shape when you tilt the jar. A king was cured by it. France perfected it, and the recipe has not needed to change since. The texture of French yogurt is not the result of additives or thickeners. It is the result of leaving something alone long enough to become what it is supposed to be. Australian yogurt. The style became globally recognized through a brand called Noosa, which launched in Colorado in 2010 after its founder, Quil Tomai, brought the concept from Queensland. Full-fat milk, slow fermentation, local honey. The result did not fit into any existing yogurt category, and that is exactly what made it stand out. Australian-style yogurt is slow-cultured, meaning the fermentation runs longer than standard production. That extended time smooths out the texture and softens the acidity. The flavor is less sharp than Greek yogurt and creamier than regular yogurt, sitting between both without being exactly either. The mild sweetness comes from the milk itself, not added sugar. Controlled fermentation that does not run too hot preserves more of the natural milk sugars. Most yogurts that taste sweet have added sugar. Australian-style yogurt tastes sweet because of what fermentation chose to leave behind. Dahi. Indian yogurt appears in Ayurvedic medical texts from around 6000 BCE, making it one of the oldest recorded fermented foods on Earth. It was not treated as a snack or a breakfast option. It was prescribed. Ancient practitioners recommended it for digestion, heat management, and as a base for medicine. It became inseparable from daily cooking and religious ceremony across the entire subcontinent. What makes dahi distinct is that it is traditionally made by adding a small amount of yesterday's batch to fresh warm milk and leaving it in a clay pot overnight. No commercial starter, no precise temperature control. The fermentation is shaped by the ambient bacteria in the kitchen, the type of pot, and the climate. Dahi made in Mumbai tastes different from dahi made in Delhi or Chennai. In many Indian households, the bacterial culture has been passed down through the same family for generations. The mother culture lives in the spoon, the pot, and the habit. It is one of the few foods on Earth where the living organisms responsible for making it are treated as family inheritance. Plant-based yogurts. The category did not exist at commercial scale until the 2000s. All plant-based yogurts still use bacterial fermentation, the same core principle as every dairy yogurt on this list. But instead of lactose, the bacteria ferment different plant sugars and the results vary dramatically depending on the base. Coconut yogurt is naturally thick because of coconut milk's high fat content. The richness comes through without any straining. Almond yogurt is lighter and slightly grainy. It almost always requires added stabilizers to hold its structure because almond milk has very little natural fat or protein. Soy yogurt is the closest plant-based version to dairy and fermentation behavior because soy milk has a protein composition that bacteria can work with similarly to cow's milk. Oat yogurt has a mild built-in sweetness that no other plant-based produces. Oats contain natural enzymes that break down into sugars during processing, and those sugars carry through into the final product. Cashew yogurt relies entirely on the fat content of blended cashews for its creaminess and is so rich it reads more like dessert than fermented food. None of them taste like dairy yogurt. They are not supposed to. They are what happens when you apply a 10,000-year-old bacterial process to completely different raw materials. Every yogurt on this list starts from the same idea. Warm something, add bacteria, wait. But what the bacteria work on, how long they work, whether you strain it, stir it, or leave it completely alone shapes something entirely different each time. You are not choosing between flavors. You are choosing between a 1,000-year-old Icelandic survival method, a French philosophy of patience, a bacterial culture passed down in a clay pot, and a factory in upstate New York. Yogurt is just what happens when bacteria transform milk. Everything else is a human decision. And that's every yogurt type explained. Now let's see if you're a pro or if you need your eyes checked. Here are all the cats in the video. Be honest, how many did you actually find? Let me know your score in the comments, and while you're down there, tell me, what's your favorite yogurt type? Are you a Greek yogurt fan, or are you sticking with the classic accidental stuff? If you learned something new today, don't forget to like and subscribe for more food evolutions and deadly history. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next bite.